It is such a vibe. I love. Hey guys, it's ARIBA and I am back with another tutorial. So today I wanted to do a beachy blowout tutorial for you guys. It's kind of my updated blow dry routine and I wanted to go very much in detail for you guys. So I'm gonna show you beginning to end, step by step, how I blow dry my hair. So right now I basically just shampooed my hair, conditioned it, did my hair mask, kind of my usual shampoo washout routine. And then I prepped my hair with a cream-based thermal protector. So my hair is like 100% ready to be styled now. So what we're gonna be creating today is more of like a beachy finish. So it's gonna be a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more modern. So we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of work with my natural part. So you find your natural part by kind of brushing everything back and then just kind of giving it a gentle push, and then wherever it kind of falls is basically like your natural part. So this is what my hair naturally wants to do, and that's what we're gonna go with. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and grab my paddle brush, and we're gonna basically dry all of our roots all the way down to here. And we're gonna go in on high heat and high air for this. So the goal of this pre-drying is to remove as much moisture as I can from my roots and also to smooth them out a little bit. So I'm taking my paddle brush in every direction and I'm focusing the heat directly onto my roots. And I'm doing this from the front of the hairline all the way to the back. So you can see here in the back, my hair is very dense. So I'm definitely taking my time and making sure I get all of the moisture out. So you want to make sure that your ends and your mids are about 50% still damp. If you dry them out too much, you're not going to get any like shape, like it's not going to hold the shape very well. So now we're going to start with our sectioning, and instead of like starting from the bottom and working our way up, for this we're actually going to be creating a round parting all the way in our crown, and we're going to clip the crown completely away. Okay. So basically now you have your entire crown pinned away, and we're gonna basically just work on all of this down here. So we have a couple of options here. You can go in with like your regular 2-inch round brush, or you can go in with a concave round brush. So the concave round brush is a little bit different, and it has this like little pinch in the middle, and those are the ones that I personally like using. But if you wanna go in with just like your regular round brush, you can, it's fine. So you're gonna grab your very first section. And if you're gonna have a hard time controlling this size, start smaller. I've been blow drying for like 15 years, so I can go in with bigger sections. But if you find yourself getting frustrated, just go in with smaller sections. So you're gonna grab the whole entire section and you're gonna flatten this on top, and you're gonna loop it around once so that you have like a nice solid grip on that. And we're gonna go ahead and start blow drying. So I'm keeping my blow dryer settings on high heat and low air. This way the air doesn't blow all over the place aggressively, and I'm able to control my hair a little bit better. And for this technique, you basically want to run your round brush up and down the hair shaft a couple of times. And once you have a pretty solid grip, you're just going to create a loop around your round brush. And then you're going to start twisting the hair at the root. And you're going to start applying the heat on the twisted areas. So this is what's going to create your beachy texture. And I'm twisting everything back away from my face for this section. And as tempting as it is to touch it and open it and see what it looks like, leave it alone. So we're just going to let it do its thing and just kind of hang out. And once we're done completely styling our hair, then we're going to open it up. And I'm keeping my sections about a couple of inches wide. So for the first couple of sections around my face, I'm going to be blow drying them away from my face. So they're being blown out back. And you basically want to direct the heat on your blow dryer back as well. So you want it to be blown in the same direction that you're twisting. This way your hair is not going to get frizzy. If you blow dry the heat on the opposite direction, you're going to have a lot of frizz in your hair. So just twist and blow dry the hair in the same direction. I always like to utilize my ears to help me with sections so that I don't have a bunch of clips in my hair. So now we're going to start on this side. So because I'm right-handed, I like to keep my round brush in my right hand at all times. So now that I'm on the opposite side, I'm just going to cross my left hand over my right hand so that the air is still being blown in the correct direction. And we're just going to continue the same pattern. So we're just going to twist and apply heat on the twisted areas and continue twisting until we get to the ends. And once you get to the ends, you just kind of glide it down because you don't want the very ends to be twisted. And I like to run the round brush up and down each section a couple of times just so I can kind of gain control. And then once I have it looped around, then I can start twisting. So back here, now that we're on the back of the head, we're gonna start switching it up. So in the back areas, I'm gonna be alternating the sections, twisting them forward and backward, forward and backward. So for this section, we're gonna be twisting it forward. So you can see I'm directing the air forward as opposed to back. And now I'm alternating the next section back, so I'm just twisting it away from my face and directing the heat away from my face as well. And once I get to the ends, I'm just gonna glide the round brush down, and we're done with that section. So these are kind of what our sections are looking like. It's gonna be a really pretty texture when it's done. Okay, so now my whole bottom half is completely done. And now we're gonna start on the crown. So you guys know when you're like normally blow drying your hair, especially in the crown area, you're always focusing on volume, volume, volume. Well, this time for this style, you're not gonna be focusing so much on creating volume, you're gonna be focusing on creating texture. We're basically gonna continue rotating everything kind of like forward, backwards, and just try to create as much texture as we can. And for those of you guys that aren't used to blow drying your hair, honestly, just make sure you keep your sections organized and you won't get frustrated. But if your sections aren't like clean and like put away properly and the hair starts kind of like falling out or a few strands start getting mixed in like with the wet and the dry, you're gonna get super frustrated. So just keep the dry hair separate, keep the damp hair separate, and make sure that the section you're working on is like nice and clean. The first couple of passes with the round brush on each section is meant to basically smooth out the hair of any of the kinks. And now when I go in and I start twisting it at the root, that's when I'm actually creating the texture. So you can see I'm directing the heat directly on to the twisted areas. And I'm not using too much tension at this point. When I'm twisting the hair, I'm pulling the ends very lightly. I'm not pulling it hard at all. So now I'm gonna take the sections off of the sides. So we're gonna work on this piece first, and then this piece I'm just gonna clip away as kind of like a subsection because I don't want this damp piece sitting on top of my already styled hair. Here, I'm just gonna continue the pattern by twisting this section forward towards my face, and then when I take the next section down, I'm gonna twist this one back away from my face. So this is what's gonna ensure that we get that really beachy texture and lots of variety in our blowout once we're done. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other half and just kind of twist it forward and backward until this whole section is completely done. And just make sure like as you're working through that you like check on your sections and make sure they're not damp, because sometimes you can't tell when it's hot if the section is completely dry or not. But once it kind of starts to cool down, like the older pieces, if you kind of give them a quick squeeze, you'll be able to tell if there's any moisture inside. So now for our pretty much our final section in here, and I like to leave this out because you can blow dry this section however you like. You can blow dry everything back for a little bit more volume and shape, or if you want to just kind of continue your natural part and blow dry it however it's falling, you can do that. So what I'm gonna do is kind of go with my natural part and just kind of see how this section is falling. Once I was done this last section here, I kind of stepped back and took a look in my vanity, and I wanted to touch up the two sections right around my hairline at the front of my face. So I touched those up off camera, and I also sprayed in some texture spray and a light hold hairspray just for a little bit of more definition and to add to the more beachy vibe. So once we broke all of this up, I went ahead and I sprayed it. You want to keep this kind of like your little curtain over here, and then just kind of create that texture everywhere else. And basically the difference between like creating this beachy style with a blow dryer as opposed to like a flat iron or a curling iron is that this way you can go in one shot on wet hair and kind of blow dry the texture in, as opposed to like coming out of the shower, drying your hair, and then going in with a curling iron or a flat iron. The other reason I like doing it this way is because I find that the texture that I get with like a round brush and a blow dryer is a lot more natural. It's a lot like fluffier, and it's a lot more like, it's just a vibe, like it's so natural. Whereas with like a curling iron or a flat iron, it's a little bit harder to create that natural natural beachy texture, you'd usually get a lot more definition with those tools. And this way it's a little bit more like organic, the texture. So if that's kind of like the vibe that you're after, this is definitely a technique I think you guys should try at home. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Leave me some love in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and let me know what else you guys want to see. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.